Okay. In accordance with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, this channel is not to be viewed by children under the age of 13. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey everybody, Dragon King Mark here, and welcome to Let's Play Shadowrun Hong Kong Extended Edition. Part 8. Last we left off, we took some time out of our day to check up on everybody in the cabin. Duncan, Isabel, Gobbet. And we also went down into the basement to meet Ractor, the tenant that basically is just living down there in the basement, and we managed to get him to join us. We also checked out the internet with the Shadowlands and even accepted submissions. There was a third one that we were going to check out, but I think we're going to check that one out later, because that mission's hell. Anyway, we're going to be going to take care of one of the missions right now. The one about the Whampoa Elders. I'd say we go ahead and talk with Law, but I don't think we really need to. At the same time, I think we already talked to him about the Whampoa anyway, so let's just check anyway, just in case. Tell me about Whampoa. We're pretty much the best, yo. What do you want to know? Law folds his arms impatiently, as if he's irritated by our request, but he can't quite stifle a proud grin. You seem very outspoken, less modest than many Hong Kongers. Is that tribal? I am more outspoken, yo. I don't need the meat-space rituals. Modesty is inefficient. He shrugs dismissively. Is that a Whampoa thing? For those of us who are most dialed, maybe. We're post-cultural. Law sweeps his hand around, gesturing at the surroundings. I hardly see any of this meat space. Our meat space headquarters is a big 20th century ship that is totally awesome. Whatever. It's just meat space. Oh, hello. Give me a sec to check. Hey, D. So, if you were wondering exactly... Wait, didn't you do this episode last week? I did, and to make a long story incredibly short, the last third of it was black screen, so I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna redo it. I wasn't feeling the best at that time, so I was like, I don't know, I mean, it was good and all, but my throat was sore and that sort of thing. Whampoa is bleeding edge on the path of becoming the Singularity, and in the Singularity there's gonna be nothing but straight up truth. Law punches his fist down at the ground, strikes a majestic pose like a Tridio barbarian. Boom! Truth! Just tell me about the tribe, generally. Who are you guys? Law smirks. You really are new to the Kong, aren't you? We're the Neo-Matrix Collective. We run the Hong Kong Data Haven and the Kong Shadow Nets. We are the Kong Shadow Nets. Outside the corporate nets is the rest of the Kong, and in those shadows you will find threads of golden light like a vast spider web that carry information. Those golden threads in that web is Whampoa. Law gets a viral nod. My buddy Redstorm wrote that. Pretty wicked, huh? Anyway, we're bleeding edge onto the path of the Singularity. We're doing things no one else is doing, anywhere, except maybe Denver or Tokyo. Our homeland is the Matrix, and we're building a society of truth and expertise and information. What's a Whampoa doing at Kindly's turf? Are you a liaison? What am I doing here? Law seems shocked at the question. I'm an ambassador. I broker Whampoan services to Haoi. Emissaries like me are all over the Kong, tying it together in an invisible network. So you work with Kindly, doing tech for the Yellow Lotus? Well, I do some work directly with Kindly, but my focus is more on the street level. We're all part of a big machine, each piece playing its critical role. And is so with any highly evolved machine. Exactly. That's why nobody messes with Whampoa. Boom! Does Whampoa provide any technical services for Hong Kong's poor? Sure we do. We run private networks. Our services are way more than just ordinary people want, though. You can get prepaid bandwidth with the corporate carrier for fractions of a nuyen, but you're selling your soul. They monitor it. Kind of like what they're doing right now. If you want to operate unmonitored by corporate algorithms, you gotta fly through the Whampoa network. It's the only place to be. Whampoans are coders and deckers for criminals, is that right? We do tech for anyone in the Kong, outside the corporate umbrellas. Anyone can use our networks if they pass our vetting and can pay for what we bring. Law speaks without a shred of irony. It's mostly the extra legal element that needs our skill. I understand someone's killing your elders. His face goes grim. A red light blinks on the VR goggles. A lens whirls quietly, focusing on you. He grits his teeth audibly, radiating nervousness and intensity. Yeah, shit's crazy. Full on medieval. I can't talk about it. It's a tribal matter. Controlled information, right? We're gonna solve it. That's all outsiders need to know. Actually, I've been contracted to help the elders stop the murders. Wow. Really? We're pulling in outsiders? He shakes his head in disbelief. Well, I should have seen that coming. What the hell are you doing here? Go to the garden and help stop that shit. Then come back and tell me what's going on. Everybody's guessing. The others are being quiet and the rumor hub is going crazy. Outsiders don't understand us. Maybe you can if you're really smart. We're in a whole different world than most people. Like, I'm seeing 3 streaming videos and live network stats on my goggles right now. Time's wasting, St. John. Alright. So what have I been doing this week? Well, aside from gearing up for the Vagrant Order's next summer event, not a whole lot. Been doing the hunting quests. Last night I participated in the rehearsal for the Aurora concert that's going to drop down next week. Head to Whampoa Garden to discover who's killing the elders. There is a third quest we need to grab, but I'm grabbing that once we get back over here. Additional runners available. In addition to your team, your fixer has access to a small network of mercenaries in the Kulong area. These runners appear below your core team on the runner selection screen and can be hired on a mission-to-mission basis. As you complete missions, both your team members and the available mercenaries will periodically gain access to new equipment and abilities. Any new items, spells, weapons, or weapon abilities that a runner gains will automatically be available for use the next time you take them on a mission. Okay, we're taking Isabel, taking Gobbet, and also Duncan. Cool. Is Bomb Rush Cyberfunk is basically the spiritual successor for Jet Set Radio, isn't it? Because I've been seeing that. I've also been seeing something about Blaze Blue. I think it's a new game, a Chinese game or something. Okay, yeah, I was right. Outsider. Whampoa Garden. A carnival of chrome and neon, rife with every manner of technology and artifice one can imagine. The entire area has the feel of a night market, save that chips are sold in lieu of steam buns and vendors hawk the latest drones rather than folk art. Something stalks these streets, hiding just out of sight. It stalks the Whampoan elders, the leaders of the band of tech-savvy squatters that have claimed this neighborhood as their own. The streets smell of ozone and fear, and those Whampoans you pass in the MTR station have a haunted, furtive look in their eye. While the killer has struck only at the elders thus far, it may only be a matter of time before ordinary residents are menaced as well. I've also, well, I'll explain when this is done. The streets of Whampoa Garden are slick with rain, glittering under the neon glow of myriad signs and holographic displays. The sky reflects the same glow, painting the white apartment blocks the sickly orange of sodium streetlights. The smell of grilling meat mingles with other rare scents, ozone, engine oil, and high-tech fabrication facilities. Despite the hour, there are still plenty of people out and about. You can hear the calls of street vendors and touts urging people into their stores. Isabel wrinkles her nose, scowling darkly. She wraps her arms tightly around her chest, staring off into the distance. Is there a word for feeling nostalgic for a place you can't wait to leave again? I don't miss this place, but I miss the feelings I had when I lived here. Saudade, maybe? Isabel shakes her head. No, that's not it. It's close, but... She lets the sentence trail off into nothingness, clamping her mouth shut for a moment. Isabel sighs heavily. This place seemed like heaven after the walled city. Like the whole world had unfurled in front of me, and anywhere I turned, there was the promise of a good life. Turned out this place was just as crappy as everywhere else. Everyone was still in it for themselves. Gobbet claps a hand on Isabel's shoulder, who flinches and pulls away. That's a great life lesson, I'm serious. At the end of the day, life's a raw deal. You've got yourself and a handful of friends, and that's it. Nothing else. Duncan casts a sidelong glance at Isabel and Gobbet, shaking his head. You got some strange ideas about life. Sure, life's a meat grinder, but come on, there's gotta be more to life than just surviving. Does there? What makes you the authority on that? Isabel waves a dismissive hand. I'm done talking about this anyway. Yeah, I know. There's apparently a side-scrolling... I think it's a side-scrolling Metrovania game. I only saw, like... I think it's Blaze Blue Entropy something. Isabel turns towards you and points down the street to your left. We're looking for the Whampoa Elders. They're going to be in the Whampoa itself. That's the big ship down the street. That's the one shaped like a boat, right? Isabel nods, lips pursed. That's the one. Somebody thought it would make a clever to make a. Someone thought it would be clever to make a uniquely shaped mall. I saw a boss rush video of that thing. Blaze Blue Entropy. Just look it up into YouTube. I only know the first 3 words, but I forgot the last. I am curious about it. I only just saw a boss rush video, so I'm just curious if it's just like you pick a character. I heard he's not just dead; he's been cut up. The elders don't want anyone to go out inside without their permission. Must be pretty bad in there. So yeah, I had this. Oh yeah, one of the things I did was I had this this old pillow I had. That was like an old teddy bear one, like a panda. Managed to sew it up this week. I'm actually getting better at it. I was also playing some Shadow War a few days earlier. I just got bored and I felt the mood for it. This orc woman is festooned with small circuits, tiny TRID screens, and speakers. The TRID screens display snippets of TRID broadcasts from every corner of the world. The tiny speakers play counterpoint with a susurrus of voices speaking Speretial, Punjabi, Kazakh, and other languages. Her expression is haggard, and she fidgets with her fingers as you approach. Yeah, I didn't hear about it either until I saw that boss rush video. Gave me the vibe of Grime, at least with the aesthetic. Well, the coloration, I guess, of the game, but you get my point. Welcome to the Whampoa, my friend. I am Elder Neeg, and these are Elders Tang and Eep. Neeg gestures to the elf and human, who each incline their heads respectively. Thank you so much for answering our request for help. We had nowhere else to turn. Is it? I don't know how exactly to say her name. Neeg. I just go with Neeg. Kind of like knee. You know what? Knee. That'll also work. It's the least I could do. Under Tang's skin, glowing tattoos writhe and change shape. Tigers become cranes and then move on to become dragons. We are under threat. One by one, we elders are being hunted by some monster. As you may have noticed when you arrived, there has been another killing just tonight. Eep crosses his solid chrome arms. Holographic readouts dance constantly over their surface, displaying diagnostic information about their state, operating temperature, servo pressure, and a variety of other minutiae. Looks past you toward Isabel. The prodigal daughter returns! The prodigal daughter returned once more. I didn't expect to see you back aboard the Whampoa in my lifetime, Isabel. When you disappeared, Elder Yetunde was very put out. I'm glad you're still alive. When you chose to walk your own path, I was disappointed, but I understand why you had to leave. He pauses, tasting the air as he chooses his next words with care. I hope my lessons have helped you prosper. Didn't expect to be back either. Work takes you to places, though. Isabel shrugs. A moment later, she places a hand on her pistol, eyes trained on Eep's shoes. I don't cart this around for fun, Eep. The lessons kept me alive. Isabel blinks several times and then looks up at Neeg, her expression clouded. Where is Yetunde, by anyway? I expected her to be here. Neeg shakes her head sadly. She reaches down a hand toward Isabel, who shrinks away from it. She's dead. So are Gon and Nakamura, and Tong was killed just tonight. So much blood. You have to stop this from continuing. Isabel's expressions remains impassive, but her knuckles grow white as her hands ball up into fists. That's what we're here for. We'll stop the killings. Thank you, Isabel. Neeg lifts a hand, wiping away tears from her eyes. What can you tell me about the murders? They started 2 weeks ago. The first to go was Gong. We found him in his apartment, eviscerated. He swallows, grimacing at the painful memory. He's been torn apart. His head had been ripped completely off, and most of his skin flayed away. There was so much blood it took us a week to clean out his apartment. Yeah, and blood's really hard to get out. I mean, baking soda and possibly some industrial strength cleaner could probably do it, but... Well, actually baking soda is really good for anything, so you get my point. Tang nods, running his palm over his forehead. The rest have been the same. Always at night, always dismembered. Each scene like a nightmare. And every time nobody has seen anything, it's like a ghost. What happened to Tong? The same thing that happened to the rest of the victims. Evisceration and dismemberment. We set the guard to keep people out of his shop, but he'll let you in. When did he die? Sometime early tonight. He locked up his shop, but Eep stopped by to ask him about some skill chips he had. The door was unlocked, and inside... Neep lifts her hands helplessly. She opens her mouth, but no words come out. Seeing Neeg's inability to continue, Eep takes over. Inside looked like a bad horror sim, just like all the other murders. It had to have happened after sundown because I saw a shop was open when I was on my way to get some noodles for dinner. Why didn't you call the cops? The Hong Kong police force isn't welcome here. They've tried to force us out several times before, or come hunting for someone to pin a crime on. We do a lot of favors for local gangs and triads. Handle the Matrix security, fix up their gear, and make sure they have access to the Hong Kong Shadowrun hub. We're too valuable a resource for them to lose, so they protect us from the HKPF or anyone else decides that we're an easy target. They handle our physical security, and we make sure to send the message via the Matrix. The last time the HKPF made trouble, we started airing the assistant chief's dirty laundry over the trade. They got the picture and backed off. Have you made any enemies lately? Neeg shrugs helplessly. Not that I can think of. We keep to ourselves. We buy and sell technology. We're not mercenaries or criminals. We're merchants and deckers. And even if someone was cheated in a deal, this kind of response is unthinkable. Whatever did this, it wasn't human. The violence and savagery, it's a monster, whatever it is. Plenty of meta-humans are monsters too, Neeg. Just because it's horrible doesn't mean it's supernatural. Fair point. What do the Whampoa elders do? Isabel snorts derisively. They make the rules and kick people out who don't obey them. They're a bunch of petty tyrants is what. That's what. You're being too unfair, Isabel. Our laws are for the good of the community. Tang turns to address you. We keep the Whampoa and its residents safe. We review trade agreements from outsiders to see if they are good for the community. We provide a guiding vision, like a town council. I can respect that. I'm glad you understand. This community is fragile, and the authorities bear us a lot of ill will. A single misstep could spell our end. I am the invoker of sprites. I commune with the spirits of machines, ask them for blessings, and pass those blessings on to the people here. I heal the sick and ensure the feng shui of our habitats is as good as it can be, given our confines. She's a shaman, that's all. She just got some kooky spin on it. Claims her totem is some kind of all-encompassing machine god that lives in circuitry. Isabel pats her deck, looking at Neeg. Ancient gods and ancestors are one thing. My deck, it's mine. I built it. The only spirits it's got in are the ESPs I loaded up with. Neeg gives Isabel a look of deep sadness. Just because you cannot see or touch a thing doesn't mean that it does not exist. Just because you do not believe in it does not mean it does not protect you from afar. I can't touch programs either, but I can at least prove that they have an effect on the physical world. Your superstitions are just that. Bullshit. Isabel glances at... Sorry. Isabel glances at you, jerking a thumb toward Tang. This guy treats drones like they're living things. What exactly do you do, Tang? Tang extends his arms, palms up. As you watch, the tattoos therein shift into a complex mathematical formula. I am the first and glorious servo. I study patterns, repair machinery, and teach others how to attune themselves to the wonders of automation. The blessed Autofab is my shop in Purview, where we make the drones we use and sell. As for me, I serve as the resplendent voltage spike. Lip smiles crookedly. That means I shoot people who try to screw with us. It's a fancy title for head of security. That's all for now. It may be wise to ask the residents of Whampoa Garden if they've seen or heard anything after you've gone to Town's Sensory Carnival. They may have seen or heard things we have not. Good to know. So, now we gotta go and talk to find Tong. So yeah, other than, you know, playing Shadow of War, grinding, and also sewing up my pillow, I sent back the 2 games that I had yesterday, that I had from Gameplay yesterday, mostly because Armored Core is coming out and I have the game locked. Borderland, I'm at your service. The elders told me that you'd be coming. Did they tell you about what happened to Tong? Just the basics. Well, nothing's basic about this. I've seen people shot, stabbed, bled to death. Hell, I've even seen a corpse that was so dry and desiccated I could have sworn a vampire got to it. None of that's got anything on this. Brace yourself and go on in. So I've just been, you know, I did a little bit of grinding. I had to reboot my router twice. Well, first time was last night after the Aurora concert rehearsal in Sky. I went to bed at midnight. Never reboot your Wi-Fi at midnight. Trust me, you're gonna regret it. After that, I had to reboot it. Haven't played Armored Core since PlayStation 1. Oh, I'm hyped too. When I saw that trailer, I was just really hyped. Tong's Sensory Carnival looks like a scene out of a B-grade slasher sim. The cloying scent of incense hangs thick and pungent in the air, emanating from the small shrine at the corner of the shop. Unfortunately, there's nothing to cover up the reek of death and clotted blood. Despite the ragged remnants of Elder Tong littering the floor, the rest of the shop appears to be in good order, at least at first glance. Nothing is broken, tipped over, or otherwise ransacked. I know, I'm really excited for Armored Core 6 as well. That's why I have a game locked on Gameplay. Sorry, had to go and grab a bottle of water. As you're about to step further into the room, you glance at the ceiling and walls. The blood from Tong's body isn't just confined to where his remains lie. Drying blood is spread about the walls and ceiling as well. I wish we could see the ceiling, but we can't. Yeesh. Tong's body is a ruined mess. The destroyed ruin of his face is barely recognizable, and what is left of his body would be best described as savaged. All of his limbs have been torn off, and a pile of flayed skin lies next to the remnants of the Whampoan elder. The Whampoan's clothing has all but been reduced to rags and tissue by cuts and tears, apparently sustained during the flaying. At this point, the only thing holding what's left of his body into a semblance of a human form is the hair-thin fiber optics of his cyberware. Gobbet puts a hand over her mouth, speaking in an uncharacteristically serious tone. Sweet heavens, Senjan. I haven't seen anything like this since Auntie Wong tried to stash some credits in a devil rat's nest. It takes a lot to turn my stomach, but we sure have a winner today. This is seriously messed up. I'll second that. This isn't a murder, it's more like, I don't know, a feeding frenzy? If it weren't for the skin, I'd say Tong stepped on a goddamn mine or something. Have Gobbet ascend the body. You're the boss. Man, this is gonna be unpleasant. Gobbet closes her eyes and takes a deep breath. After a moment, she opens them again and makes a strange grunting noise. There's no fear here, Sengshan. No anger either. Just this kind of satisfied feeling. Tong never saw it coming, and whoever did it was professional about it, which is pretty odd, because nobody's professional about expressing a body, as far as I know. You think it was a hit? I don't know why the killer was after Tong, but it definitely wasn't any kind of mindless creature, or even someone particularly passionate. It was somebody who planned this and executed it and was glad about it. I don't know. It kind of feels like it was just business as usual. If we had biotech there, we could examine the body. Alright, I also tried out a bit of Tower of Fantasy, then I deleted it the same day. Because, that game I mean, it's free. Aesthetically, I love the aesthetic going for it, but oh, it's a mess. The UI is just terrible to work with. And also, there was like an instance where one of the characters was speaking Japanese, even though he was. I have my language set to English. The walls are covered in splattered and smeared blood, most of which has hardened into a crusty, congealed paste. Thick tracks of it run laterally. It looks like the blood has been deliberately smeared. Hey, Senjan, I don't know a whole lot about science or all that, but I know what blood looks like when it hits a wall. This isn't natural. Somebody deliberately smeared blood all over these walls. See how it looks like it's got paint trails? That's because somebody used Tong's parts like a brush. Ew. So, they painted his walls with blood? Why? Also, this is kind of like a horror cliche right now. I mean, you're painting the walls in the victim's blood. I'm surprised they didn't paint a message. Do I look like a psychologist to you? Maybe because they're a freak? Maybe they're one of those sick serial killers that see their murders as art? I got no clue. All I know is what normal blood looks like on a wall, and this ain't it. Yeah, I think I actually saw that stream. Well, I saw the VOD stream of it. Some people have a bad grasp of art. I knew this guy in Kwangtung who used to make music out of stray radio static and panic button calls. Called it Crisis Wave. It was awful. I can imagine it would. Bathroom. Tong's bathroom is immaculate and the drains are tiny. Whatever killed him didn't exit through here. Okay, that's safe. Tong's desk drawers are open and the safe that's built into one side has been opened. There's no sign of tampering and the green light next to the room light next to the ward unlocked is blinking. Whoever opened the safe did it with a key fob. Inside are several blank cred sticks, but no sign of any money with money on them. Looks like someone looted his stash. A guy like this wouldn't keep only empty cred sticks in his safe. Simpsons editor. This is the Yamaha 95000V SimSynth, a device for mixing and mastering Simpson chips. Several drive bays are empty and all the chip jacks are empty. The screen is flashing a repeated error message. Warning, requested files cannot be found. Please return drives to bay and try again. Alright, Isabel debugged the system. Isabel rattles out some commands on the SimSense keyboard, stepping away after a few seconds with a look of satisfaction on her face. There, I put the drive warning on suspend. It's in diagnostic mode only though. Maybe we'll learn something, maybe not. Yamaha Sim OS 5.23 system diagnostics check. Memory okay. Drive error. Assist bust okay. Beginning core dump, please wait. Isabel studies the screen in detail as the letters and numbers scroll by. Looks like Tong was cooking some BTLs in here. He's hacked the peak controller output cutoffs. The delta levels on the sim chips are usually about 4 to 5, 6.5 for cowhots. His delta peaks are pushing 12. That's brain-burning territory, Senchan. And all the drives and chips those BTLs were stored on are missing. I never liked Tong, but it wasn't because he was a bad guy. I just didn't like any of the elders. But if he was cooking chips at Delta 12, maybe he burned somebody and he shouldn't have. Maybe they flipped their lid and came after him. Or a relative did. Isabel gives you a serious look, tipping her head at the synth. The metahuman brain can't handle this kind of output. It'll shut down after a few of these. So, the chips are gone. The chips were also being used for brain... That would, if used, would cook your brain. Someone stole Tong's money. And made it look like this and deliberately painted the walls red with blood. Porter! Hey there. Need something else? What do you do around here, Porter? It's a catch-all category, I guess. I work for Elder Eep. It's a bit like being a deputy. I make sure people don't break the rules, protect people who need protecting. Mostly I just go about doing whatever Eep asks me to. It's a pretty quiet job most days. Today is not one of those days. I also handle a lot of maintenance. I don't actually do the repairs, but I've got most of the keys. Makes it easy to ensure only authorized people get into sensitive places. Electricity goes down, let in the electrician who fixes the wiring. Toilet's clogged, I let in the drone guy who opens it back up. It looks like somebody went through Tong's things. Has anyone else been inside? Not since I've been here, but before Eep found him. Could have been anybody, really. Eep had a key to his place, but the lock's total crap. Anybody half decent at cracking mag locks could have gone inside. What's missing? His BTLs, hard drives, and credits are all missing. Sounds like the killer looted his place to me. All this talk of monsters. Yeah, sure, there are scary things that go bump in the night, but most of the scary bumps I hear are from handguns and gangers. See you later, then. We gotta figure out exactly where to go from here. We need to search for the killer. And I think I got a decent idea of where we might be able to go. We better find some place to sleep indoors, Jan. The streets are dangerous lately. Breaker Hui. An opposing troll stands in front of a stall overflowing with weapons of all sorts. Pistols, rifles, even brass knuckles overthrown to the rug around him. Oh there. Look like a man who understands the value of self-defense. Breaker Hui at your service. I can promise you that I can help you defend yourself. What do you say? Want to take a look? Show what you got. God, I kind of need to sell this clothing anyway. Shock glove. I'll keep an eye on you, Hui. I'm looking for information. Yeah? Tell me what you want. Maybe I can help you out. You know anything about the murders? Just as the others have been getting hacked apart. I've tried to stay away from it all. No sense painting the crosshairs on my own forehead, right? The troll shrugs indifferently. I'm nobody important, and I aim to keep it that way. What are your impressions of the Whampoa elders? Can't say I associate much with them. They organize big trade deals with the Loho Joha pirates, the triads, and legitimate businesses. They tell us that somebody's been blacklisted and dispense justice when somebody breaks the rules. Beyond that, they leave us alone, and I leave them alone. I'm just not important enough to register on their radar. Aside from Tong, who slings the BTLs around here? The Red Spear Gang. They run up in here sometimes, but don't cause any trouble. Check out the parking garage south of here, though. They usually hold up there. Step like though. If they don't know you and you cop an attitude, they'll put you into the ground. Funny thing, I heard there was a shootout with some Hong Kong police in the garage a month ago. I was away in Beijing at the time, so I didn't see it directly, but everybody was talking about it when I got back. Why is that funny? Because we don't let the HKP up in here. Most times we shoot them at them as they try. Every time they come in here, it's bad for us because they're always looking for a scapegoat. Why would the others let them in? Nobody knows. See you later, then. Mo? The man in front of the stall is rooting through a box of music chips with the swift fingers of somebody who knows what they're looking for. Behind him, a music player pumps out a constant stream of distorted atonal music. The stall's proprietor is nowhere to be seen. Can you believe this? They've got 4 bootlegs of Echelon 60. The unreleased Enoch Ian's double chip show from Brazzaville, but absolutely 0 chips from Shotgun Bloom. The stall stuff is pretty second rate. Hey man, don't get down on Echelon 60. I saw them when they played that unlicensed show at the old chocolate chart factory out in Suiyuan. The show was amazing. Even if the police had to break it up midway through the second set. The music aficionado raised his hand dismissively. The show might have been great, but come on, Echelon 60's old news. They're already being mainstreamed. I saw a Trid ad for the new Mitsubishi Ostro scooter, and they were using main Volt underbus as the backing music. Made me sad, I tell you. I hear you. The Decker inclines his head politely towards you. Mo Janebi, at your service, Decker. Technologist and music fan. You're never around here, are you? You don't hold yourself like a native. I'm from the UCAS. Mo runs a hand through his hair, shaking the collective rain from it. I thought so. What brings you out here? I'm trying to find out who's been killing the elders. The Decker pauses for a moment, face falling. Oh, that's a nasty business. Their Tong died tonight. I don't know who or what they pissed off, but it seems like a really bad scene. I'm trying to get my nose out of it. Still like the place. Is there anything I can do for help? What can you tell me about the Whampoans? We're a collection of freaks, geeks, nerds, and tech junkies. This place may look like a third world bazaar, but believe me, we have stuff here that's cutting edge in almost every field. Mo swells with pride and plants both hands firmly on his hips. Maybe it's not advanced as the stuff in the megas that have in their development labs, but it's as advanced as anything you can find in a store. I was gonna say street. Or stall. People come from all over the world to buy and sell here, and working out deals for big shipments. We've got contracts in every pirate and smuggling group in the South China Sea, and every major syndicate and gang in this free enterprise zone knows not to mess with us. Not only are there a lot of us, nobody wants to lose what we're selling. The Red Dragon made a play for 4 years ago, but we chased him out. Mo gestures with both hands as if shooting away a bothersome insect. Scooted off back to Whampoa, and they've never been back. Good for you. That's how you survive. It's all about playing the angles. Yeah, I pissed them off, but we sold goods to the Yellow Lotus at a discount. In exchange, the Yellow Lotus keep them off our backs. You don't have to beat up the big guy to win. You just have to make him step back so the other big guys see he's off balance. Stand-up fights are for the megas. We're about survival, just like everybody else in the shadows. Know anything about the murders? I'm trying to stay as far away from it as possible. I'm not connected enough to hear anything important, and all the talk about monsters is just plain dark. I'm not afraid of monsters, but I don't want to get on their attention. All I know is that a couple of months ago we had Elders Nakamura, Yatunde, Gon, and Magpie. Now we don't. Magpie? I've never heard of Magpie. Well, Magpie might not be related. She just appeared a month or so, just up and closed her shop one night, and nobody heard from her again. Zippy thinks she's on vacation, but I don't know. These killings started right after she disappeared, so maybe she's in hiding and is taking care of the other elders one by one. What kind of person was Magpie? To be blunt, she was a hateful, shrewish old badger of a person. It was always her way or the highway. She butt heads with the other elders over damn near anything. The last fight she had was with Tang over something or other. I guess she ended up throwing some of his micro drones into a deep fryer and threatening to kick his ass around the block. What was her line of business? Matrix gear. Her shop's called the Jack Point. Not very imaginative, I know. She always had the hottest programs, best chips, and made some killer decks for anybody willing to pay for her rates. Cost plenty of new yen. She was with the best in the business. At least in Hong Kong. If you want to know more about her, you should talk to Zippy. He's one of the only people around here who got along with Magpie. You can probably find him by the MTR station. That's the steampunk car over there. What's your area of expertise? I'm a decker. I used to be a company man for years, pushing code on their servers, smearing the little cyber pukes that would try to get into our secure systems. Made a pretty good living. Had my own place on the 48th floor of a corporate skyscraper. It's the kind of thing the Sims teach you everybody reaches for. The dream life. So what went wrong? I found out the company wasn't what I thought it was. Sure, they paid me well and kept me in creature comforts, but I accidentally looked over some misfiled reports about cleaning out a company data store. Turns out one of the company security riggers had gone drunk and blabbed about some project or other being over budget and behind schedule. That's not good. It'd be a fireable offense, right? Mo purses his lips. His gaze grows distant for a moment. Well, I guess upper management was worried that info would hurt their stock ratings by a fraction of a point or two, so they fired the guy. With a .308 round right through the skull. Wait, they shot him? Over a fraction of a point? It may have only been a fraction of a point, but that was still tens of millions in yen. I guess they went beyond a firing offense directly to murder territory. What's worse, since I now knew about both the project and the murder, I could be next in the firing line. I know it wasn't worth the expense to hunt down as long as I kept my head down, so I came out of here looking for like-minded deckers. I guess I ended up staying because I could get assembled a community out here, and I couldn't get that many other places. Alright, see you later, Mo. Well, we're definitely gonna have to go and get the key to Magpie's shop, but I think but we also have to go ahead and I don't know. I just don't feel safe here anymore. Ain't that the truth? I'm also trying to apply for a job as a youth librarian assistant. Filled out the paperwork last night. Don't know if I'll get it or not, but we'll see. And here's Zippy. I think I'll talk with him next time, though. I'm Giant King Mark, and next time on Let's Play Shadowrun Hong Kong Extended Edition, we're gonna go and get the key to Magpie's place. Yeah, I really do hope I get the job, too. I mean, it'll cut my stream time, and the only time I'll have a day off is on a Sunday. So I might be able to stream once, maybe once, but maybe I could probably do it. It's a part-time gig, but maybe I could pull it off. Anyway, and it's in a public library, too. It's quiet. I mean, it seems nice. And I really don't like being around other people, so maybe it'll work. Anyway, next time we're going to go and get Magpie's key, and we're also going to talk to Zippy over here, see what he knows. If this guy's really the wealth of information that everyone says he is, you should probably at least go and talk with him about everything. If you like what you guys saw, leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon to stay notified, and I will see all of you next time. Laters.